Like African women. I say Africa does not have a political, social, spiritual, or economic problem. Africa have a heart problem. A heart lacking love for herself and humanity. I'm gonna break this down for you, make it simple. First example, case in point. You will find a very wealthy, educated, influential, affluent African woman, married, going around from pillar to post, going to this prayer house and that prayer house, this prayer mother, this prayer father, this apostle and bishop, going to all the shrines, but they call it church, of course, and sowing seed left, right, and center. Because why? She's looking for the fruit of the womb. Most those of you in America, the fruit of the womb means she's looking for a baby, and they believe she's barren. This is an African woman that's wealthy in Africa with money and wealth and power and connection all over the place, praying and fasting for years and days and sowing seed left, right, and center for some witch doctor to open her womb so she can give birth. Meanwhile, in that same country or that same continent, Africa, there are children in orphanages looking for, needing a loving home. The thought would not even cross her mind to even go and adopt. You see what I'm talking about? Our heart is lacking love. Love is at the root cause of Africa's problem. Number one. Second, case in point, you have a leader or a principality manifesting the flesh as a politician or pastor. A leader is in office for 20, 30, 40 years. While he's in office, what does he do? He will steal the natural resources and the wealth of the country that he's supposed to lead in Africa and invest it in the economy in the West, whether he buy private jets, mansions, houses, or he send his wife and his kids and his family members abroad to go on a shopping spree on the weekend, pumping the money in the economies in the West, or send his children and family members to go abroad either for school or for the best medical care. You don't tell me that's wickedness. That's why I wonder, I say, some of these leaders in Africa, are they even human beings? How can you live in a country where the average citizen makes $3 a day, $3 a day, and you say you are a president, and then you come to America or to UK, somewhere in the West, and you buy a mansion that's worth 140 million pounds or dollars? Is that something that a human being would do? These leaders don't have heart. That's why I wonder. That's why I call them principalities. They have confirmed what I've been calling them for years. I say Africa is ruled by principalities manifesting the flesh as politicians and pastors. President Kagame and the president of Ghana, Somalia, is it Somalia and Ghana? Those are one of the two outstanding leaders in Africa that I respect, I admire, and I'm paying attention to their works. Those are only two so far. I'm sure there are many. Let me know who they are. I keep them up in prayer that we'll continue to see such leaders show forth in Africa. But the majority of African leaders are evil and wicked. You have senators in Africa that makes more money than senators in the West. Is it now wicked and evil? Then the same African leaders will come to the West to beg for money. Think about it. You come to the West to beg for money for your country, for your individual nations in Africa. But the people who you are begging money from, their senators and their workers make less than your workers. Does that make sense? Are we thinking? It's like somebody come to you and borrow money from you, say, loan me this money. But they are driving better cars and living in better neighborhood than you. You wonder, it's not a common scenario amongst the black people, whether black America, Caribbean, or African. They will credit money from you, but they're driving the best car, using shoes and handbags that you can't even afford, but they have the audacity to credit money from you, for you to loan them money. It's not the same thing happening with our leadership. Do we have any leaders in Africa? Now you have George Weah in Liberia. Before he became president, he didn't even have 2 pennies to rub together and make a spark. Now he has a mansion. Does anybody know where it came from? That's why I said, to become a leader or to run for any public office in Africa, period, there should be 2 rules or 2 laws that should be passed all over the continent. Number 1, before you run for public office, please let us know your asset, your personal asset. What are you worth before you become president or governor or senator, So when you get out of office today or tomorrow, we don't see you with $550 million in the bank when you didn't even have 50 cents to rub together and make a spark. The second law that should be passed in Africa: no government officials and their family members should ever leave Africa to go to get education in the West or medical treatment. If the 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years you're in office, or the 2 or 3 terms you're in office, if you don't have the wisdom and the sense to invest and build one of the best medical school, to build one of the best hospitals that's worthy enough to treat you and your family members, or build one of the best or decent schools that is worthy and good enough to educate your children, then stay there. Don't destroy the continent, loot the continent, steal the wealth and the resources. They have the audacity on top of that to fly your family members and friends outside of the country, outside of the continent, to be educated or to be treated medically. Isn't that adding insult to injury? How insulting is that? You guys who rule us, when are you going to wake up? And we, the average citizen, when are we going to rise up and make a demand and demand these guys will need better treatment? But also, like I always keep saying, sometimes our leaders are just merely reflecting back to us who we are. Sometimes our leaders are just reflecting back to us who we are individually in our private life. Because you can't have one corrupt man accusing another man of corruption. George Weah and the many of the African leaders are corrupt financially and sometimes morally, ethically, socially. But you two got a husband and a wife and you're sleeping around. So you are morally corrupt. Or you have a job, you're cheating on the job. You are corrupt. You have a business, you're cheating your customers and your clients. You are corrupt. You know what I mean? I ain't got to give you more ideas. You know what I'm talking about? Or you have a mother who have 2, 3 children and she have favoritism. Or because one of the child happen to turn out to be light-skinned, that light-skinned child is treated like God. All the other children who are dark-skinned, that have a different father, they have to worship that one child. That is corrupt. Hello? Or you take somebody innocent child from the village and you bring them in the house to take care of your children and you treat them like slaves. That's corrupt. That's morally, ethically corrupt. Should I go on? Hello? Some of you report your family members and friends to the police. You know what I'm saying? That's corrupt. You steal people's husbands and boyfriends and fiancé, or wives and girlfriends and fiancé. That's corrupt. But then you take to social media and say George Weah, you say Buhari, you say Shawori, you call all the African leaders, you call them all the names, and you pointing finger at them that they are corrupt. Corruption is in Africa because why? Corruption is in Africans. I repeat, corruption is rampant in our leaders in Africa because corruption is rampant in the individual lives of the citizens of Africa, individually and corporately. We find corruption in the continent because corruption is in us. I repeat, there is corruption in the leadership in Africa because there's corruption in the people, my people. Let's wake up. Let's make a change. Let's make a demand. Let's begin to do something different or differently. But let's not cover our own dirty laundry and hide it and put our own skeletons in the closet and then wants to expose the George Weah, Buhari, and all of those guys. And granted, those guys are as guilty as charged. I agree. But for us to see the leaders that we want with integrity and honor and dignity and respect, guess what? It has to be seen in us individually and corporately. Then maybe, only then and maybe then, our leaders may begin to reflect back to us who we are. When we individually and corporately become men and women of integrity, of honor, of dignity, a man of your word, a woman of your word, even if it hurts. When you begin to love your brothers, not as yourself, but begin to love your brothers as Christ loved you. Because many of us don't even love ourselves. So let's not deceive ourselves and say love somebody as you love yourself. You don't even love yourself. You don't even know what love is. Let's find out what love is. And then become an expression of God's love to each other. Hello. Thank you.